Beginning of Parshat Lech Lecha begins with Baruch Hu, God saying to Abraham, Lech Lecha, Abraham should go, and he should go from Me'artzecha, Mimoladetecha, Mibeit Avicha, La'aretz Asher Areka. He should leave his family, his homeland, his father's house, and he should go to the land that God promises, and there God promises him that he will make him into a great nation, and he will bless him. The one question I'd like to deal with today, obviously there are many approaches, I'd like to, Mirza Hashem, focus on two approaches, is what is it about Avraham Avinu that he is chosen as the Av HaUmah, the father of our nation. When we've spoken about last week, when we spoke about Noah, the Torah tells us that Noah was a tzaddik, he was a tamim, et Elokimi talech Noah, he was a righteous person, a wholesome person, he walked with God. We have somewhat of a background of the character traits that made Noah unique. He was matzachein b'nei Hashem, he felt favor in God's eyes. But by Avraham Avinu, we just have his genealogy at the end of last week's parsha, and suddenly it really seems out of the blue. God appears to Avraham and says, Lech Lecha, go. What is it? Who is it? Who is Avraham Avinu that he has chosen? And this is the question in source number 1 in Shvilei Pinchas, the end. Madua zacha Abraham legilui kol kach gadol. Why was Avraham Avinu worthy of such a great revelation? V'im yesh siba lekach, and if indeed there is a reason, madua lo nizkara b'Torah, why is it not mentioned in the Torah? That's the question I'd like to focus in on today. The classic answer to this question, which is brought down in sources 2 and 3, is that of the Ramban Nachmanides. The Ramban says, what was it about Avraham Avinu that he was chosen? So we know in source 3 that chief among the events that demonstrated Avraham Avinu's tenacious devotion to his faith in Hashem is the midrashic account of his escape from the furnace of Ur Kasdim. Our rabbis have a tradition handed down to them from Moshe Rabbeinu that there was a confrontation between Avraham Avinu and Nimrod, who was the ruler at those times in the city of Ur Kasdim, which resulted in Avraham's being thrown into the furnace, and he came out alive. So according to this, we do have a sense hinted at the end of Parshat Noach that Avraham Avinu left from Ur Kasdim and went to Haran. What happened in Ur Kasdim, literally the Ur, the fire of Kasdim? It was a fiery furnace that Avraham Avinu was ready to enter into and give up his life for the belief, for the oneness of the sanctification of God's name. So if this is so, ask the Ibn Ezra, the second paragraph in source 3, if this is so, why was a miracle of this caliber not recorded in the Torah? To which the Ramban Nachmanides explains that it would have been impossible to record the miracle of Ur Kasdim as a demonstration of Hashem's omnipotence without also mentioning the idolatrous arguments of Nimrod. And since these opinions certainly do not belong in the Torah, for this reason the miraculous event was not written at all. So that's the approach of the Ramban, that why was Avraham Avinu chosen? Because of his mysterious nefesh, of his tremendous love for God, that he was ready to be thrown into the fiery furnace. Why is it not mentioned? Because otherwise we would have to bring both sides of the argument, which isn't appropriate in the Torah. Another approach to the same issue, and I think it gives us a whole different dimension of appreciating this medrash that the Ramban brings down, is the insight of the Maharal of Prague in Derech HaChaim, brought in source number 4. We know there's a Mishnah in Pirkei Avos in the brackets that says that Kol Ava Shitluya Badavar Batel Davar Batela Ava V'She'ena Tluya Badavar Eina Batela La'olam. Any love that is contingent on something physical, so then once you take away that object or whatever that item is, so the love disappears. But when there's a love that's not dependent on anything, so then that love is an everlasting type of love. Likewise, says the Maharal, Ba'lo dia tikvat ubitachon Yisrael begalui, continuing in 4. This is to teach us the hope that we have in exile. Hashem choosing Klal Yisrael is a love that's not dependent on anything physical, and therefore we don't have to worry that it will ever cease. It wasn't dependent on anything. And you see this because it just says, from the fact that the Torah doesn't tell us anything about Avram Avinu, it just says he is chosen. That's the best indication that it's a love not dependent on anything, because we don't find anything written of why there is love. There's no sitkus, there's no chayin, there's nothing. It just says, God chose him. And therefore we see that throughout the generations, God is going to love us, and it's not going to be dependent on any other item. Now, if this is true, so the obvious question we have to ask ourselves